Hello everyone and assalamu alaikum to everyone. Good night, good evening, and good morning to my Sitwat Javed Iftekhar and every audience who are watching me live on my Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch account. The name as Mariam Zulfikar, training wali, Vice Principal at Rehan School Online Academy, and Facilitator at Rehan AI Teachers Institute. I started a series of interviews named as the Catalyst Podcast, and today I have a very amazing guest in my studio. Her name is Miss Sitwat Javed Iftekhar. She is residing in Toronto, Canada, and she is very amazing teacher as teaching the French language to the students through virtual classes. And let's talk to her and welcome her in our studio. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Miss Sitwat Javed. How are you?
Assalamualaikum, Mariam. How are you? You know, my eldest daughter, her name is Mariam, and the spelling is the same, Maryam. And my daughter's name is after my father as well. My father's name was Javed Iftekhar, so my daughter is called Mariam Iftekhar. So we're all the Iftekhar's clans here. But yes,
Okay.
so thank you for having me. And it is an honor to be here with you, and you call it the Catalyst podcast. So what kind of catalyst are you? What is the purpose of this catalyst thing? I want to hear first from you. What is the Catalyst podcast?
Okay, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. First of all, Miss Sitwat, and I'm honored to have you in my show. And yes, the catalyst means I want to be a catalyst myself who wants to change the different things and the state of mind or the mindset of the people who are surrounding by me. So that's why I want to be act like a catalyst, and the people will be changing their effects by I creating for them and providing the different kind of the opportunity and those kind of a thing that I am learning from this system, Rehan School. Yeah,
Wow. Before you interview me, well, maybe we'll do that another day.
sure.
The cat, I want to interview you about your journey into being a catalyst and being a vice principal at Rehan School. It's like amazing. I want to hear about all women. So, what would you want to hear from me? So, I do live in Canada. I'm a Pakistani by birth. I was born in Karachi, the only member of my immediate family to be born in Karachi. My siblings were born in Mauritius, and my parents were born in India. And they migrated from India to Pakistan, both of them their separate journeys. And then they met in Karachi. And well, my daddy made them meet. Uh,
Okay.
yes, interesting story behind it, but I can't say it uh, online or to the world. But very interesting story. But so my parents migrated from India, and many years later, I migrated as a single mother from Karachi to Canada with my 4-year-old daughter. My 4-year-old daughter was born at Aga Khan Hospital. She was born at 24 weeks, which is very tiny. Uh,
Okay.
and she was born, and right when after she was born, they took her to the NICU, neonatal intensive care unit, Mariam. They took
Okay.
Mariam there, and the doctor said to me that she has all the complications of a premature baby, and that she won't survive long.
Oh,
And that was 30 years ago. So my 31 years ago. So my daughter was born at Aga Khan Hospital 31 years ago at 24 weeks. That is 16 weeks premature. She was
oh,
taken to neonatal intensive care unit. where she was just, because she was alive, they put her in the incubator, attached all kinds of machines to her, um, put all kinds of IVs into her to keep her alive. And the doctor said to me and my then husband that uh, it was a very famous doctor at that time. He was a head, not going to say his name. I have really bad things to say about him, um, but when he said, "You don't say that to a new mother that your child is going to die." But anyways, so she's a survivor, and
Alhamdulillah.
yes, so she had all the complications, and some complications continued after birth as well. But one thing that happened is because of all the medicines she got, life-saving medicines uh, to survive, to live through the help of medicine, or that through that amazing doctor too. He didn't have a good bedside manner, but he was a pretty amazing uh, neonatal intensive care unit pediatrician. He was a specialist. He was the head. He saved my daughter's life, and well, he was just the means to save it, but Allah saved my daughter's life.
Exactly.
And you took me back in time. Sorry, you took me back, and I took myself back in time. So my migration journey was when she was 4. By that time, I had gotten divorced, and I was taking care of a very sick child. And
Oh.
one of the things that happened to her is the life-saving medicines impaired her hearing. So she became
Hmm.
hearing impaired. She could not hear. We found out when she was 2 that she could not hear. So having a divorce label, having a daughter who's different label, I could not bear the societal pressure of living in Pakistan.
Pakistan. Definitely.
And
Definitely.
I became the catalyst, the manifester of my destiny.
Definitely. You
And
are.
so what happened is the doctor who saved my daughter's life, he was crude. He was an amazing doctor, but he was crude. So I changed her doctor. I changed her doctor. When I changed her doctor, the doctor who became my daughter's doctor was a Canadian. So she
Oh.
saw the 4-year journey of my marriage falling apart. I don't like to talk
Hmm.
bad about anybody, but of course
Hmm.
they were bad. Uh, the in-laws and the husband and whatever. And there's a whole story behind it. Maybe a drama ban sakta hai, Indian movie ban sakti hai. A lot of those things can happen with just that one single story,
Hmm.
definitely. But I don't believe in talking bad about somebody, uh,
Hmm.
right? They're just facts. These were the facts. These were the facts. So the doctor said, "Is iska ilaj Canada
Hmm.
jaake karo." Okay,
Okay.
and my father said. So my father was supporting us by that time, and my father, he paid the medical bills. He did all of that. So my father said, "I can't afford to send her to Canada."
Hmm.
I'm thinking in my mind, I got to go to Canada for healthcare for my daughter. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter. I'm going to apply for citizenship. My father, I was a young girl. I was in my
Okay.
20s. I was right out of college and having a few internships. I was in my early 20s.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, I'm going to go to, doesn't matter. I'll figure out a way. I need to go to Canada because in my mind it was just like I had had enough. Not my parents, not my immediate family, not my aunts and uncles, but oh, talaq ho gayi, oh bichari, oh बीमार बच्ची है, oh सुन नहीं सकती, अच्छा आला लगा दो,
Hmm.
आले से भी नहीं सुन सकती, बोल नहीं सकती, कब बोलेगी. So all these questions were driving me crazy. And so my daughter was born at 24 weeks. She got discharged from the hospital after 4 months of staying in the neonatal intensive care unit, basically to go home to die. And she was discharged on oxygen cylinders, 24/7. Oxygen would be, she would live on oxygen. She couldn't live
Oxygen.
without that. So, so, um, so how am I going to take a sick child all the way to Canada,
Hmm.
right? But by the time, so my doctor started saying that by the time I thought of it, by the time I did that, so her oxygen came off. She was
Hmm.
free. She was free
Hmm.
to breathe on her own. It's a story right there and then. And so we arrived in Canada. I applied for immigration on my own credentials.
Hmm.
From the time that I got married to the time I got divorced, I upgraded my skills. And how did I upgrade my skills? Because I was in depression or whatever zone I was in order के बे के बेटी का दिमाग divert होएगा.
Hmm.
uh, my parents put me in a in a in a in a in a it was IT program. It was an IT program. So I had a bachelor's BA from Karachi University. I had finished. I'd done my BA, and so I was so ke IT mein kuch kar le. So
Okay.
during those 4 years, when my daughter was really really sick, in and out of hospitals, I got a software programmer key degree, a
In
software
the whole
programmer in.
time, and the
So
whole time you were just going through all the depression and the anxiety thing that you already having a very kind of toxic relation and these kind of things, you are just going on with the different equipping yourself with
I did
technology
not
and
know
ID.
what I was doing. It was just my parents. Okay,
Okay.
ye depression, I was like a walking zombie. I used to
Okay.
appear, but I wasn't there.
They
Like it was
just
a
want
shock.
to, yeah, they just want to divert your mind from that scenario
So,
which you
okay,
are going through.
so yes, so I went back to school. And I did not just go back to school, I went back to work as well. So my
Hmm.
father was a banker. He
Hmm.
was an executive vice president in Habib Bank. And through whatever connections, he got me internships to divert my mind. So my
Okay.
mother would take care of my daughter from morning till evening. I
Hmm.
would go to work. I would do an internship at a bank. From
Hmm.
morning till evening, I would be at the bank working
Hmm.
and learning the skills, being in a bank setting. And at the
Hmm.
same time, I was doing this software programmer ki degree
Hmm.
to just divert my mind. And I did not
Hmm.
know what I was doing. So
Okay.
हम लोग सब इंसान हैं, right? We're all human beings.
Exactly.
So so the being that I was being affected by my life circumstances. So
Hmm.
instead of being a human being, feeling those emotions, to not to feel those emotions of the human being, I started becoming a human doing.
Exactly.
So human being to human doing. So, and that's what got me. And during this, my cousins are getting married. I'm going to all those events. I'm going to restaurants to eat out with my friends. I'm going to work. Wherever I would go, I would carry
Hmm.
my baby with the cylinder dragging with me. So wherever I would go, people would ask me, why do you need a cylinder? Why does she need oxygen to breathe? So I would make it up. I said, Karachi ki hawa bahut kharab hai. That's why she needs oxygen. Aapko bhi oxygen ki zarurat hai, laga le. So I was always a rebellious child.
Hmm.
I was always a rebel by nature.
Hmm.
But now the rebel had a cause. My daughter became my cause. Became
Exactly.
became my savior, right? She
Oh,
became
okay.
my savior from the divorce trauma, the trauma of divorce, the trauma of having a sick child. I did not, I have words to tell you what happened at that time, but
Hmm.
I did not have the words at that time. I did not know who I was becoming, right? In the face of adversity, it is who
Hmm.
you become. Like you're a catalyst, right?
Yeah,
My daughter was my
exactly.
catalyst to come out of those negative emotions. It's not what life gives you. Life gives you anything and everything. You know, we hear in our Pakistani culture, "Acha karoge to acha hoga, bura karoge to bura hoega." I would say my grandmother used to live with us, my dadi. So I would
Hmm.
say, "Dadi, मैंने क्या बुरा किया है जो मेरे साथ इतना बुरा हो रहा है?" My dadi would say, "तुमने कुछ बुरा नहीं करा है." You know, she would say, "Allah mere iftikhar ki laaj rakhna." Right?
Hmm.
She said that this child was already written, that this child would be born out of this man and this woman. You got married. In my grandmother's conservative religious mind, she said, you got married and had a child. You know, she was very conservative, but to a 22-year-old, she said, what would have happened if you would have had a child outside of marriage? And I'm like, what is my grandmother saying? So she said,
Yeah.
nothing wrong happened to you.
To
She would
you.
say, my sons, मेरे बेटे की इज्जत रह गई. You know, मैंने कहा सिर्फ बच्चा पैदा करने के लिए शादी हुई थी. My grandmother would say, yes, it's Allah's
Hmm.
plan. You just got married to have a child. And when the child
Correct.
was born, you got a divorce. You're not a bechari. You're not a, this is कि in the eyes of the world, you're a married woman. But I said, I'm not, I'm a divorced woman. She said, no, in my eyes, you're a married woman. You had a child out of
Child.
marriage, out of
Exactly.
marriage. And that was the whole purpose of this wedding. My grandmother did not let me become a bichari. My father did not let me become a bichari. My mother did not let me become a bichari. Right? It was the
Hmm.
society, the way our society thinks. And it's not that my grandmother was not a product of that society or my parents were not a product of that society, but it's the circumstance that they were in. And they had to do everything to protect their child. My grandmother was protecting my father. My father was protecting his child, and I was protecting my child.
My
So we
child.
all became catalysts because we were doing something for another person. You can only
Exactly.
become a catalyst when you want the change that is about to happen can only happen when you're working in the service of another person. It cannot happen
Exactly.
when you're working in service of yourself.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
I
true.
came to Canada as a single mother.
Hmm. Okay, so in Canada, what kind of the people over here? There are a lot of kind of the people residing in Canada, not just like Pakistanis, not the just Indian. They're all around the world. So right now, what kind of the things that you faced in Canada rather than the Pakistan? Are there something different or the same thing? So what's going on right now?
So right now things are very different. I came in the 90s. I came in the late 90s. I came in 1997. So
Oh,
know that I came from the comfort of my father's home
hmm.
to a place I knew nobody.
Oh,
I migrated here. I filed the papers. I got the citizenship. I got the PR card.
immigrant visa.
Yeah,
Okay.
immigrant visa. I came here on the basis of, so the 4 years that I was doing my IT degree and the four
Hmm.
years that I was doing internships were all in planning of me coming. When I got
Okay.
when I got when I got married or when I had my child or when I got divorced, Canada wasn't even in my mind, but it
Hmm.
was in the planning that Allah had planned that I'm gonna come here. So the planning. So I needed to show 3 years of work experience. I had
Hmm.
4 years of work experience.
Hmm.
I had I had a degree, so they were looking for IT specialists, right?
Hmm.
um, Computer programmers they were looking for when I arrived here. I knew it, but I come here with a sick, deaf child. I have to find a place to live. I have to start working. What am I going to do? So when I came here, my daughter fell sick. So in and out of the hospitals, finding a school for her. How am I going to go back to how am I going to work having a 4-year-old child? So I came from a house full of people taking care of me to nobody taking care of either of us
Okay.
here. I would fall sick, but my father had connections, so he gave me 3 phone numbers when I landed here.
Okay. Okay.
He didn't have the money to support me, but
Hmm.
he had initial seed money that he gave me. So I came here with $5,000, which is nothing in this day and age. In 1997, $5,000 was a lot of money. He gave me $5,000 and 3 phone numbers. The first phone
Hmm.
number picked me up from the airport. The second
Okay.
phone number kept me for a week. The third
Okay.
phone number was a godsend of a woman, a husband and a woman. I lived
Okay.
in their basement, and they guided me, and they told me they would take me in their car to get groceries. I paid them rent, but they guided me. They just
Okay.
gave me a helping hand. Like, they just guided me. They did not say I wasn't their guest. I was a renter, but they were like
Oh,
angels to me. And so from there on, I put my daughter in school, and the people I found, so मैं पाकिस्तान की mentality से भाग कर आई थी. मैं पाकिस्तान
exactly.
के लोगों से भाग कर आई थी. मैं कनाडा में मिसेस सागा आई. I landed here, and Mrs. Saga is Desi Saga. It was.
Okay.
So अपनों से भाग कर आई थी, अपनों के पास ही आ गई.
Oh.
मेरा दिमाग फ्राई हो गया था. But so the initial, so I got in touch with really good Pakistanis. I got in touch with really bad Pakistanis.
Oh.
People who were going to take advantage of me. I was young. I was
Hmm.
a, I was single. I met all kinds of people. मुझे लगा मुझे इंसान की पहचान हो गई है.
Hmm.
Okay, but yes, that's another story.
Okay.
So but the people that I found, so where I put my daughter in school, it was a school for the deaf. And a
Oh.
teacher would come home to teach me sign language because my teacher was deaf. So my daughter was deaf. She went to a school for the deaf here. And the system that was such in that time was that my daughter had a doctor, I had a doctor, my daughter had a counselor, I had a counselor, my daughter has a social worker, I had a social worker, my daughter was going to school, I had a teacher come home to teach me. So little by little, the money that my father had given me was being used up. So every week when the teacher would come to teach me sign language, she I wasn't retaining it for the next week,
Hmm.
since I couldn't communicate that language with another person. So I used to think, how am I going to communicate with my child when she's growing up, when she's going to learn,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
We didn't have devices then. We didn't have the technology then. I couldn't
Yeah.
chat to her. She didn't know English. She had no language.
Exactly.
So I went back to school here. So
Hmm.
in Canada, when you go back to school, you get a loan
Oh.
from the from it's called OSAP, Ontario Student Loan Something Program.
Okay.
So I got OSAP, and OSAP covers your not only your student fees, the college fees, and everything. It gives you enough money to live on for a year,
Okay.
which you have to pay back.
Okay.
So I went back to school to be in the sign language interpreter program. but I wasn't going to become an interpreter. I was going to I was going to learn the language, to go there to learn the
Yeah,
language. But in
being
the
a learner,
process,
you have to learn these kinds
yes,
of sign language.
but yes. So you asked me what kind of hurdles I faced. I faced all the kinds of hurdles a new immigrant would face going to a new country. Uh, I faced cultural challenges, the way we operate in Pakistan, culturally, socially, economically. Um,
Okay.
Over there, all my financial decisions were being taken care of by my father. Over here, I had to rethink. I had to pay rent, buy groceries, cook. Eh, 3 minute की call book करते थे and
Hmm.
to Pakistan from here, and I would call my parents and I would ask my mom, ammi dal kaise banao? I did not know how to cook. So those 3 minutes
Okay.
was not hi, hello, how are you? It's like how to make dal. So I had to learn everything from scratch.
Hmm.
When you were it's like I had blinkers. My focus was, I wasn't looking right, I wasn't looking left, I wasn't looking who was saying anything, I was just doing. Remember, the human being had
Yeah,
turned into a human doing. i
exactly.
was I was just doing. So how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna my daughter goes to school. When I started going back to school for a year, so after that, I instead of going into computer programming, life thrust me into going back to school again. And from there, it went to being a sign language. Um, so after I finished my course, which was for a year, I got job at the college in itself, and
Oh,
I became a deaf advocate. Right?
oh,
I would go. Um, I, I was also my daughter's advocate at home, but in school,
oh,
so that college had a lot of deaf students, and I would go to class with each and students. So either you have an interpreter, a deaf student
yeah,
who goes to school here, either they have a sign language interpreter or they have a note
okay,
taker. So
okay,
in order to become an interpreter, I needed 4 years of education.
oh,
Up until the 1 year, I had only learned how to sign. I had learned how to just sign using isharon ki zaban, right? I can talk and I can sign, but it's not the same. It's like, so I use my
different
hands.
things.
Yes, I use my hands to communicate in sign language, right?
Oh,
So, and a deaf person who's looking at me will understand what I'm saying, so like that, right? So now
so
my brain,
it was really easy for you to communicate with your daughter. That's the
I
physical
did it
aim.
to communicate with my daughter, but in the process I got work. So my journey has just been doing, 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 doing. So
Okay.
i met I met lots. I learned about how it is for a single woman to live in a young single woman to live in an age where I would have a lot of men looking at me. I learned to
Oh,
push their gaze aside, to put their interest aside, to just be focused on my life and my daughter's life.
okay.
So, um, but it is the good people that I met along the way, and it was my laser focused. There was no goal. It was just laser focused vision that I have to put food on the table and I have to pay rent. It was just
Oh,
for those reasons. I was just barely surviving, right? And
okay.
thriving as well. I lived well, I ate well, but it was the confidence that I was gaining that I'm not dependent on anyone, right? I was
Oh,
an independent single woman raising my very differently able child
child.
with the help of a lot of organizations, with a lot of good Pakistanis, with a lot of good friends, whether they were Pakistanis or with a lot of good teachers from my daughter's school, social workers, the system that was in place. And any bad negativity that would come my way, any negative attention that would come my way, I would just put it aside and I would not focus on that.
Okay. That's really like being a single mother. That's a really motivated story for the others. You are now the inspiration of lots of mothers who are just watching you because they are facing lots of hindrance within Pakistan and outside the Pakistan throughout the world. By concluding your whole story, I just got an idea. There are the good people and the bad people. This is you who have to decide which is the good thing I need to go with it, and which thing I need to just say no. That's your own thinking and the whole procedure.
Ye to, I'm telling you the story 30 years later. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
that there were not challenges at that time.
exactly.
Doesn't mean that I wasn't depressed at that time. It doesn't mean that I did not used to
Definitely.
cry my eyes out at that time. It
You
does not
know,
mean that I did not feel helpless at that time.
when
It did not feel that I did not doubt myself. Lack, I was becoming confident without knowing myself worth. I
yeah,
was not working towards being worthy of myself, but the confidence came because I, so I would give myself one day and I would cry my eyeballs out for one day. And the next day I had to go back to school again or I had to go back to work again. And,
definitely. You
and,
know, the mother that already facing shifting from one paradigm to another paradigm, that you were just a single the lady, and then you have to transforming and other, and you're starting the new journey being a mother of a child, and suddenly the doctor announced a news for you. You are not stable and a normal child's mother. That's also a different thing. You're going through from that thing. But you know, the thing is that Allah has decided something else for us, and we are expecting lots of something else. So you just go with the flow, and that the thing is that all your family is motivated you that this is the just part of your life, and that's the motivation for the whole time
so
along all the
I had,
way.
yes. So the support that I had, right? Support is very important. In Pakistan, I had my family support. In
Yeah,
Canada, the universe or Allah or whatever anybody believes in, because living in Canada, we come across many different faiths,
yeah,
many different. So whether you believe in God, whether it's the universe doing, whether it's you don't. Whether
any
if you do not
supernatural
believe
thing.
in God, there's the universe. If you believe in God, there's God, Allah, Bhagwan. All are,
Okay.
because at this core of it, we're all insan, right? औरत
Ex-
बाद में, इंसान पहले.
hmm,
Insan, insaniyat.
hmm,
So that's another thing Canada gave me. And I'm going to say, not only Canada gave me. So I was born in Pakistan. I spent my childhood in Mauritius. Mauritius is a land of Hindus, Christians, and Muslims, and how they live in harmony with each other. So मैं औरत बाद में हूँ, बेटी बाद में हूँ, बहन बाद में हूँ, माँ बाद में हूँ, पहले मैं इंसान हूँ. And so where I spent my childhood and where I chose to migrate to, both these countries, Mauritius and Canada, is is the land of opportunities, but it's also the land of. I grew up in paradise, by the way. Mauritius is like paradise. Uh, so, so and Canada is the land of opportunities, but it's also the melting hub of a lot of nationalities, a lot of
yeah,
religion.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I learned. So it was there from before. The mindset was there. I grew up with Christians and with Hindus. So the mindset was there कि अगर Allah है तो उसका भगवान है, right? I know you said Allah, my
Hmm.
mind went somewhere else.
That's all
But
okay.
but so the इंसान, so कनाडा ने मेरी इंसानियत को जगाया, मेरे उस अज़म को जगाया, मेरे अंदर की बागी बेटी को, रिबेलियस इतनी इतनी नहीं थी, हर चीज पे ना करती थी, लाइक ये नहीं खाना, वो नहीं खाना, यहाँ नहीं जाना, वहां नहीं जाना, that kind of stuff. But so मेरे मेरे अंदर के बागीपन को कनाडा ने gave it a purpose.
Okay.
And over there it was with the support of my parents. Over here it was with the support system that this land has in place, of doctors, of social workers, of therapist, of speech therapist, of this therapist, of that therapist. So I am not just me because I am like that. I did all those actions, but they were there because of the network of people that I had in place. So I used to live on rent. A Pakistani couple came to see me initially. That man said, "Oh, our basement mein rehti hai. You live underground. Come and live with us. We live in a $900 apartment. You're paying $500. We're going to rent a 1700. We're going to rent a um, you're going to pay 900. You're going to live in an apartment." They were going to charge me twice the amount, right? I was paying 500. They were living in a
Hmm.
900 one. They said,
Hmm.
we'll rent two. We're living in a 900 apartment,
Hmm.
one bedroom. We're going to rent a two-bedroom for 1800. You pay 900. I pay
Hmm.
900. We'll live
19.
together and we'll help you.
Okay.
Later on, I realized one bedroom is 1900, two bedroom is 1000. Doesn't jump
Oh.
from 900 to $1,800. So they were scamming me. So
Oh.
scammers came in my life too. Like we didn't have online scammers at that time. Ye to zinda jagte scammers the.
Yeah.
So and that is just one example that I can talk about, right? But there were all kinds of people who came about. But it was because of my landlords at that time. People had rented from the third phone number that my father gave me. They were very good people. The support system that my daughter had in school was really good. Where I went to school, that support system was really good. So, in
Okay.
order to be who you are, you also need to have a good network like you guys have. Like you're a catalyst, but the support of the Rehan school, all the
Exactly.
catalysts, the dots all everywhere, the
Connecting one
the
by
the,
one.
the training wali, the education wali, the tailor wala, the Allah Wala,
Exactly.
and all those Walis and Walas make up this network, this supportive network, in order for you to be who you are, in order for somebody else to be who they are. Yes, we become who we are because of what we do with our lives, but it's the support that you need, it's the connections that you
Definitely.
need.
Okay. So throughout the whole process that you explain me and the audience, the one thing is still we want to know about how you deal your emotional things, how you deal your mental health throughout the process, whether you call your parents, your friends. When you were just in Pakistan, your family was there to support you, to guide you, to divert your mind, to get out of that the zone that you are going through in it. But in the Canada, who was there for you to lay down in his or her the lap and saying something this and this happening to me. Now what I need to do, when they, how I need to suppose this is the bad thing happening to me. So which is the person that you want to share each and everything in Canada?
So, as I said, my daughter was born premature. She had lots of medical challenges.
Yeah.
And the disability part of it was she was deaf, right? She
Okay.
couldn't hear, but couldn't hear was the least of my worries. She had medical challenges.
Oh.
So all the time, so one time I was there. You're asking me who was there to help. I'll tell you in a minute. So um, So I was sitting in the doctor's office. A doctor closed the door, and on the door were 10 signs of depression. And as I was
Oh.
waiting for the doctor to come and see my daughter, it was a family doctor. So we have a family doctor. फिर अगर किसी स्पेशलिस्ट के पास जाना होता है, पीडियाट्रिशियन के पास, गायनोकोलॉजिस्ट के पास,
Hmm.
rheumatologist ke paas, the family doctor refers you. So we were
Hmm.
sitting there for my daughter because my daughter had fallen sick. And we just sitting there, and I'm sitting there looking at the 10 signs of depression. And I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have all 9 signs of depression. And the 10th one was committing suicide.
Oh.
So when my doctor comes in, I say, yes, check my daughter, but I have all these signs of depression. So we tend to the daughter. She had a sore throat and asthma and all of that. She said, okay, give her this medicine. So I'm quieting my crying daughter and giving her milk. She was 4 or 5 around that time. And my doctor started talking to me. She said, you've got sign number 1, you've got sign number 2, you've got sign number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why why is it that you don't want to commit suicide? Like the 10th
Exactly.
signs of depression is thinking about suicide and committing it. So I said, hello. Okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I said to her, first, my faith, but sometimes faith or religion does not stop anybody. Faith is not,
Exactly.
okay.
Does
So
not.
I'm saying to my doctor that, you know, I was raised that there's a time to be born and then a time to die. What if I
Okay.
commit suicide? Like what if I go by train and I take me and my daughter? So if I die, who's going to take care of my daughter?
My
And
daughter.
as I'm telling my doctor, okay, what if I take her and me and I jump in front of the train, both her and me? But what if it's not my time to die? What if it's my daughter's time to die? And she dies in my hands, I would have become a killer and I would still be alive and I would be maimed. I would be an apahij. I don't know. God would be so angry with me. He would maim me for life, but I'd still live. What if I die and my daughter survives with more problems? What's going to happen then? I'm going to go to hell. So, and I'm making all these scenarios and I'm telling her this. So my doctor says, okay, we need to get you help. So you're asking who helped me. The system helps you. In my daughter's school, there was a social worker helping me with all the paperwork. At the college I went to, there was a counselor helping me with all the application work. It wasn't online. You had to do it in person. Okay? It was
Okay. The
1990.
manual thing.
Yes, everything. You had to go in person. Uh, when I first came here, I couldn't Google and say, where's the deaf school? Where's the school for the deaf here? I had to go to the city hall to talk to the people. Where's the school for the deaf? So the mayor's office said to me, we don't know. Let us find out. So people helped me along the way, right?
Okay.
People, the connections,
The
the
network.
the network helped me. I was building new network. I was leaving a network behind, but here I was building my own new network. I was building all the Desi Saga network with the white
Okay.
people, the brown people, the black people, the Asian people, all kinds of nationalities coming. And so my doctor refers me to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and the therapist. I,
Okay.
I think I took antidepressant for 3 months. I was over it. Psychologist was there, but the therapist is what helped me. A professional therapist helped me overcome. So remember, I was human being Not being, I was
Doing.
I was doing, but now in order to heal, I had to feel. I had to
Oh.
heal those emotions. I had to heal the trauma of divorce. I had to heal the trauma of childbirth. I had to heal the trauma of migration. These are all traumas. We think, oh, hunky dory, shadi hui. No,
Hmm.
trauma hua. Divorce hui,
Hmm.
yeah, no, trauma. Bacha
Hmm.
paida hua, no trauma. Migrating from a third world country to a first world country, trauma. Need to pay rent, trauma, 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 trauma. So my therapist helped me to identify the emotions. She gave name to each and every one of my trauma. She helped me feel those emotions. She helped me overcome those emotions. We talked about intergenerational trauma.
Okay.
Maybe
So.
so
Hmm.
परदादी
Hmm.
पर नानी का ट्रॉमा पर नानी उनमें ट्रांसफर हुआ उनका ट्रॉमा उसमें ट्रांसफर हुआ उसका ट्रॉमा so I am the product of all if I am the legacy is इतना बड़ा खानदान इतना अच्छा खानदान no you inherit traumas when you inherit physical ailments like cancer like high blood pressure like diabetes you inherit trauma
Yeah.
as well so I had to heal अपनी माँ का trauma, अपनी दादी का trauma, अपनी नानी का trauma, अपनी परदादी का trauma. I had to heal all those freaking traumas. So who supported me? It was all of these people supported me. How did I overcome it? I had to feel each and every one of my emotions from the moment of my birth. नानी का trauma भी heal कर आई, दादी का trauma भी heal कर आई, सारा का trauma heal कर आई. Doesn't mean I'm healed,
Hmm. So
right?
yeah,
We
definitely.
experience life. I'm still experiencing life. My daughters are still experiencing life. New traumas are emerging, but now I have the tools. But I had to get professional help.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so Miss Sitwat, from all these things, now you are still a single mother. There's lots of challenging. You already discussed the financial, the emotional, the survivor things. Like in the Canada, the first thing that is the make sure is how to survive yourself and going on with your daughter that's also a differently able person, and you want to raise her and the proper the personality and with her own identity. That's also a big challenge for you. Now she is like 30 or like 29 years old, mashallah.
31,
So
31, 31.
okay, 31. So, how's life going on with her right now? With all the different able things, and she's doing lots of things good, definitely. As you are the very good mother, surviving all these things, now she will be definitely a very good child. You raised her.
So my daughter is doing well. She has lots of medical issues. Lots of medical issues came about later in life. But what happened is she graduated high school. She
I'll discuss later. We'll discuss later. Go on. Because I just want to know about your daughter's life right now.
so my daughter so my daughter is a survivor. So first
Yeah.
she's a survivor of prematurity. She is deaf. She has a lot of medical issues, but at the same time, she's a very calm, uh, uh, calm, loving, caring, um, um, in touch with her emotions, right? So that what that therapy taught me was um, to get therapy or help at every stage of our life, right? Don't get therapy when you're in the midst of a crisis. I don't
Okay.
have even if I don't have any crisis, it's always good to talk to a professional. So I got my daughter therapy, right? I got my along with all of that, I got her therapy as well. So so yes, So she did graduate high school. There were lots of programs here, how to find work, how to upgrade your skills, and all of that. At the moment, my daughter is dealing with her medical challenges, but she graduated high school. She completed a few courses. At some point in time, she got other kinds of courses. What she did, she's forever bettering herself with whatever her capabilities are. So part of our culture is bete ko doctor bana do, engineer bana do, uh, 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 ITs,
We have.
ITs wo bana do. But
Hmm.
I could not make my daughter anything, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
I wasn't born with the society's idea of a normal child, right?
Hmm.
Not that she's abnormal, not that she's disabled.
No,
She
no,
is
she's
just
not.
she's just differently abled.
Exactly.
So, right? So whatever her abilities are, so
Yeah.
she manages her health, she manages her food, just sometimes cooks, cleans, uh, has friends, goes out, uh, meets the world. What she's not doing currently is not working because she's managing her life. Like,
Okay.
so that's what my daughter does. So um,
Yes,
she's
definitely
30,
she'll
so
learn.
she's 31 years old, but it doesn't mean when I say, "Okay, I healed myself," that life did not happen again, right?
Yeah,
I've got a
definitely.
30, so I've got a 31-year-old daughter and I have a 13-year-old daughter. So abhi jab
Yeah.
last year we were celebrating my daughter's 31st birthday. The same
Hmm.
year we were celebrating my other daughter's 13th birthday. So
Oh,
so
that's nice to know.
you want to talk about the other daughter some other time?
Definitely, definitely. Okay, we have a just very nice comment by Mehreen Training Wali. Thank you so much for listening us, Miss Mehreen Training Wali. She wants to know, she's asking, so please help others to overcome with all these traumas too, because most of the people are and not have the nani dadis trauma. They are also having these kind of the trauma that you already discussed, like the your dadis, dadis, nanis, and your mothers, and then you have your own, and that life going on.
So I'm not a trained therapist. I'm not a trained doctor, but but doctory bahut aa gayi. I got because my daughter was sick. She goes to a cardiologist, she goes to a respirologist, she goes to this ologist, that ologist. Uh,
Okay, okay,
so uh, I just know my life, right? So I don't know what um, what life circumstances anybody has, right? I My life is not perfect, and it's not that I overcame those challenges that I don't have new challenges in my life. Life is life is not about good people, good things happening to good people and bad things happening to bad people. There's no black and white. It's
okay.
all shades of gray. I live in Canada. Weather outside is very gray. There's no sun, but there's no darkness either. It's not black and white. And I feel that everybody is a master of their own destiny, right? The the cup that I was given, it's not a clear cup, but मैं अपनी चाय ठंडी कर कर पीती हूँ. So do I look at my cup as half full or as half empty, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is I've been drinking sips of my lemon ginger tea right now, and and is it so? If I look at it as half empty, that means my life will feel empty. If
Okay.
I look at it as half full, it's still half full. So how do I look at it? How do you look? So um, अगर आप अपनी so how to help? If you look as your life through the lens of a victim, you will be victimized.
Yeah, definitely.
If you look as your life as the life of an ordinary person uh, living through extraordinary circumstance, then you will become extraordinary. There's nothing extraordinary about me. I'm just an ordinary person, a human being who was thrust into action just because of my life circumstance, and I had to design each and every part of my life. But there was a greater force at play here. So sabar is not Allah shukar, Allah sabar. No, sabar is not to say, okay, zulm, ah, I don't know, the abel mar something, I don't know.
आ बैल मुझे मार.
Yes, it's not, yeah, it's not ke, yes, ke life circumstances आपको मारते रहें और आप जुल्म का जुल्म सहते रहें और आप जालिम समाज की बातें सुनते रहें. It's like कान बंद करो, आंखें बंद करो, and just like do. So I don't have any how to help because I helped myself. But yes, I had faith in the religion I was born in. I had faith. I had blind faith in Allah. I'm a very spiritual person. I feel that God has a plan for
Definitely.
all of us. There's a purpose to my life. There's a purpose to my daughter's life. There's a purpose to a baby's life. Everybody has a purpose. And whether I found my purpose or I'm still discovering it, I don't know. I've had many purposes in life. Some purposes are there for a season. So my how to help is find your purpose, have faith, believe in yourself, and find your people, find your people. Let go of negativity. Did you hear me talk negatively through any of this about the person who was the father of my child, who was my ex-husband? No, he does not exist. हम लोग स्टोरियों में रहते हैं, हम लोग सास बहू के ड्रामे में रहते हैं, हम लोग मियाँ ने ये कर दिया, साली ने ये कर दिया, मामी ने ये कर दिया, पप्पो ने ये कर दिया. What are we doing? Let them, let them, let them. Let whatever anybody is doing to let it be and just focus on what you are doing. So I changed the focus from I'm not a bichari, I'm not a victim. My daughter is not a victim, and not that I didn't feel like a victim. Okay, I did feel like a victim. I had to go to work through that process. I had to emerge as just a, a, a not even a survivor, right? How do you thrive from becoming a victim to a survivor to somebody who's thriving? It's a mindset. It's all in the mind over matter, right? Something is happening to you, it's matter, it's science. So my mind over matter. So how can I help? I cannot help. Everybody helps themselves. I can only tell you what I did, and you can learn from it. I'm just an ordinary human being, but I do extraordinary things because I believe in God, because I have faith in the universe, and because I have faith in myself, I believe in myself, and I have a very strong support, a network that I have. Most of all, Alhamdulillah, my brother is my biggest supporter. My parents were my supporters. I have amazing friends. I connect with uh, doctors and teachers, and so whether it is you need help in the medical to deal with a medical issue, go to a medical professional. You need help with a emotional issue, go to the mental health specialist. And that's why you have all these names as well, right? You are training wali. You are there to train other people, right? So not only do I learn, not only do I teach or impart my knowledge, I also learn from every person I encounter with. I know this this was about me. This was about my journey, but I want to hear about Mehreen training wali. I want to learn about Maryam. I want to learn about all these things. And and same way is I wasn't in it for me. I was doing it all for my daughter, right? I was doing it all for my daughter, and in the process it saved me as well. So how to let go of trauma is not to blame the trauma, not to blame the nannies and daddies and mummies and the and the and the sauce and the husbands, and not to blame anybody. There's no blaming. If you get into the blame game, then you won't focus on yourself. Not to live in the story. I know I told you my story, but I don't live in it. I have a
But
completely new set of dramas now in my life.
exactly. But you know what? When you explain the whole thing to me and the audience, you are now the inspiration. You are now become the motivation of lots of female. So that's why everyone asked to you to which kind of thing you experienced, and now what you suggest to other people that this and this happened to me, and I gone through it. Now I just concluded these things in this way. So that everyone just know about your conclusion. Like Marine training when you was asking a new thing, how to find your purpose and how we can help ourselves.
मैंने अभी तक अपना पर्पस नहीं फाइंड कर रहा है. मैं आपको आपका पर्पस कैसे फाइंड करके बताऊं? I'll tell you in a very simple language, okay?
Sure.
Um, we have 4 seasons in Canada,
Yeah.
okay? Winter is when we hibernate. Well, I hibernate. Not that I can, but I have to go out as well. But sun summer is when we all come out. The flowers come out, right? So your question is the purpose. So in winter's purpose is different. So
Okay.
just like that, the purpose of a child is different. So it doesn't mean that that my purpose when I was younger was different, right? It's reinventing yourself. How do we find our purpose? Sometimes it's just going with the flow. Right now, I teach French. Okay, I never in my wildest dreams knew that I would be a French teacher. Is that my purpose? I don't know. Yes, I'm helping a lot of students here speak French better, um, uh, do well in school. Um, is my was my purpose at one point in time was to become an advocate. I'm still an advocate for the deaf. I'm an advocate for my daughter. I'm an I'm an advocate for different people having different abilities, or I'm a advocate for women's issues, but women's rights. But being an advocate for women's rights does not mean that I'm against all men. Men are
Yeah.
our allies, right? Men are our allies. It doesn't mean that I'm a proponent for different ability, that I'm not a proponent for uh, 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 really people who are really highly intelligent or can hear, can speak, can walk, can do all those things. So how do you find your purpose? Is purpose changes all the time. It's it's to it's to listen. It's to listen to. So remember, I said I was human being who was just doing. I wasn't listening. So listen in. How do you find your purpose? Is to go inward and listen to your feelings. What is your feeling telling you to do, right? Is my purpose to teach French for the rest of my life? I don't know, but it certainly puts food on the table right now. Is my purpose, when I go to the hospitals over here, I have to tell each and every time we need an interpreter for my daughter. They say to me, but you're the interpreter. I'm like, no, I'm just the mother. My
Yeah.
daughter is your patient. Bring her a professional interpreter. I'm not here as her interpreter. Or where my daughter goes on her own, she uses her phone to text in English and how to communicate. Now, when I'm talking and she wants to listen in, she just opens that app, which can translate my voice into text, and she will look at what mommy is saying. Before, we did not have that. So, what is your purpose? Is you have to listen to your life experiences, your training. I I was a software programmer, a bachelor's in I did my bachelor's in French. Did I did that become my purpose, or did that become my way of earning a living? No. Life took me in a different direction. So wherever it took me, I found my purpose. Today, after this podcast, my purpose is to be a cook, a driver, and
Definitely.
that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So there are little purposes and then there are big purposes. Today I'm a cleaner, I'm a cook, and a driver, and that's my purpose for today. So I don't have an answer to what the purpose is, but I hope that I have more
I mean,
questions. I have more questions than I have answers. I
okay,
still have
definitely. I
questions.
mean, time to time you need to find out your purpose according to your requirements and your job the needs. That's also being you suppose how you'll fix your purpose and go on for the rest of the thing, how you'll communicate and you're working for that thing. That's really the very good and meaning to you, and you're the person who are related to you. That will be the another purpose of your life and your thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, um, um, these are very esoteric questions. Like, what is your life purpose? Esoteric um, meaning that, uh, um, how can I explain it? Um, they cannot be just answered. That what to find your purpose. So the purpose of a child being born today is, oh, the father is saying, oh, m- mera beta bade hoke doctor banega, right?
Yeah.
We don't know, right? We don't know. So these are all very, so these kind of questions, or how to get help. So, and no way, by no way am I saying my life is perfect right now. Okay, every day e- every every day is a new day, a new sets of challenges, a new way to reinvent myself. But the tools, one thing I will say about French is, and my brother talks about it, he says it's a core skill. It
Yeah.
was a soft skill. I always knew French, but I did not know that I would one day become a French teacher. So my soft skill became my core skill, and my life circumstance taught me the power of speech, of communication, right? I did not talk like this when I was younger. I did not tell people. It took me a long time to say I'm divorced. It took me the long time to say, not that long, maybe 4 or 5 years initially, right? I wouldn't tell people that I was divorced, or I wouldn't tell people that I am. So when me and my daughter, we would go out, so now I communicate with her in sign language, and we
Yeah.
use our hands to communicate. But long time ago, we would just stay silent. We would just stay quiet. because I didn't want other people to see that I'm deaf. So it's owning who you are. This is who I am. This is what my life circumstance gave me. You asked me a question earlier, would I be open to talk about it? Yes. Come
Okay.
into my
Uh,
brain and pick out my life circumstance.
Thank you so much, Miss Sitwat. It's really to be honored to have you in my studio, and I explore lots of your the other side of this Sitwat Javed Iftekhar, and I never knew about the people who are residing at the other corner of the world are also having these kind of the circumstances. He or she survived, and now she is living very happily, and may Allah bless you lots and lots, and live a very happy life and with very
Thank
beautiful daughters.
thank you so much. Happiness is just a state of mind, okay? I can be living
Yeah,
in really bad circumstances, but I'll still be happy.
that's good to know about you. Okay, and lastly, I just want to ask you a very tiny thing. That being a single mother, what you want to say to those mother who are just going through this stage that you already uh, gone through. So just say a few words to them, being an inspirational and motivation person to them.
Uh, it's hard. Being a
Yeah,
single mother is very hard. But would I, would it be easy? Would it, I don't know what it would have been like had I have a, uh, I cannot find a better word than idiot. Sorry, trying to look for one. Would it be better to, would it be easier to raise my child with a zalim husband and with a condescending father, or with a bad man as a husband and a father? Would my life be easier? I don't know.
yeah,
Was my
definitely.
life hard as a single mother? Yes. And I firmly believe that had we stayed in that marriage, both me and my daughter, had we stayed in that marriage, we both would be dead. Okay. So it's not, it's whether you're married or whether you're single, whether you're never married, whatever it is, it is hard. It is hard, no doubt about it. Some of my friends are still single, never married, never had children. Is life easy for them? No. They have their own set of hard life.
Definitely.
Is another friend of mine or another family member of mine, is their life easy being married? No. Every every designation that you have, whether it is being a man, being a woman, being a girl, being a boy, being a single mom, being a single father, being married. Uh, some people adopt. I don't know. I know. I've heard of celebrities adopting. Uh, we know of. We have a. I think a Pakistani singer adopted her children. Is life easy after adopting a child? No. I. I. So I don't think that I can give any advice to single mothers out of there. I just think that I did the best I could in the circumstance that I had, and it was a life given to me, or it was by design or by plan, or it was meant to be, whatever it was. My advice is acceptance,
Okay.
and that's it, acceptance, and just do what needs to be done to fill my cup with gratitude. Alhamdulillah, right? Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, all the time. And no sabr and shukr, okay? Zalim, don't say कि sabar de to nobody is a victim, whether you're living in a bad marriage or whether you're living in no marriage, or whether you're not, or whether you're a single mother. You're not a victim. Don't treat yourself as a victim. Don't be a victim. It's the most horrid word. So the agencies that help single women here in Canada, the area that I live in, they call victim services and appeal. I say take that word out. Take that word out. Terminology is outdated. Single mothers are not victims, okay? And it's it's hard, but it is the most beautiful journey you can be on with your most loved person you have. And it is better to be a single mother than to be the wife of a than to be with a deadbeat dad, right? I just want to say my daughter did connect with her dad when she turned 18.
Oh,
And now she does not want to talk to him by choice. First, at birth, it was by circumstance, but now it's by choice. So I did not take her away from the father. But yeah, so that is just a thing, whatever your circumstances are. I
okay.
can go
Once
on
again,
and on about it. I'm sorry. I'm very
it's all
passionate
okay.
about it.
It's all okay. It's all okay. And thank you so much. I took you lots of time, and it was really nice to listen to you. And that was really amazing thing. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation once again, and thank you so much. I'm really honored to have you on my show, and thank you so much.
And Mariam, let's
Yeah,
do
sure.
another session too again.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We'll do
And
it.
can I ask the questions next time?
Yeah, sure.
I want to know about your journey.
Okay, 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 sure, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Sitwat, and thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
audience.
having me.
Yeah, I'm honored. And thank you so much, audience, for watching me and Miss Sitwat on my different platforms. And I keep doing amazing things. I'll be right back with an amazing another guest. Till then, Allah Hafiz.